Hello, I'm Pearl.
And I'm Bob.
And we are just passing through.
And this is our next exit.
Come and join us. Oh, very good. You think they'd fit?
Oh, yeah.
You gonna get them?
What you got?
Coffee mugs.
So that was Hershey, Pennsylvania, and we found out Pennsylvania has some really neat campgrounds. Visit Hershey, Gettysburg Farms, and Timothy Lake South. And that was Hershey. On the way down to Hershey, we were up, was in Jefferson, Ohio. We did that interview with Todd and Nancy up in Jefferson, and then headed down into Pennsylvania. First we went to Niagara Falls, but we got to Erie, Pennsylvania on the way to Niagara Falls, and I knew the Great Lakes were huge, but I didn't know that they're basically the same as the ocean. You can see here the waves and the beaches and stuff. It pretty much, if you didn't know where you was at, you would assume you was at the ocean. We really enjoyed our day at Lake Erie, and then we headed down to Gettysburg Farms and then there to Hershey. And at Hershey, that's where we met up with a couple of subscribers. You saw the interview, George and Melissa. Well, he was here at Hershey. We met them. You might see yourself.
We're going to be on his YouTube channel now. I know. That's how it works. I mean, I'm doing it myself.
And if you hadn't seen their interview, I'll put a link up here. But they're a pretty interesting couple, and George has got quite the personality. I think you'll learn to like him and Melissa both after you watch the interview. So Tom and Christina, they drove over from Philadelphia, and they're going to go full timing in about 6 or 9 months, I think it was. And they thought they would do it in a fifth wheel, but they kind of maybe changed their mind, thinking they may want to get a Class A RV. And they're just in the preliminary stages. Here's their interview if you hadn't seen it. And they were a fun couple. We enjoyed spending the afternoon with them. And once they get on the road, I think they're going to have a great time, and we hope we get to hook up with them again in the future.
Yeah, sure do.
Well, let's load up and see if we can get Granny to drive us over to Timothy Lakes.
Excuse me, chicken. Be nice to the driver. Besides that, you're supposed to respect your elders, not be calling me Granny.
I've got to keep you in tune, baby.
My mother hated the name Granny also.
Yeah.
Kids would tease her and call her Granny. She'd even run after them to make them
She'd
quit.
what?
Even run after them to make them quit. Alright, you guys, I gotta come out. Here I come. Tell ya.
So I'm not sure if you could get a good feel for Timothy Lakes South campground there, but it was really a pretty nice campground. I thought it was going to be a lot smaller, but it turned out there's 3 campgrounds we stayed at in Pennsylvania, and all 3 of them are really good. And Timothy Lakes was, oh, there's maybe about equal. They all had their highs and lows. Timothy Lakes is where we met Jeff and Lori. We did, we've emailed with them a couple of times. I'll put a link up here with their interview. And they retired, or they wanted to retire. They downsized, sold their house, but they're still working. So they're staying at Timothy Lakes, and then they go 80 miles up to Rondout, and then back to Timothy Lakes. And he's going to work 2 more years, and they're going to theoretically do this back and forth for 2 more years. They're taking off this winter, the winter of 2018 and 2019, and going to Tucson to visit their daughter. She lives back in Arizona. So they're taking off that 3 or 4 months. But theoretically, they're going to bounce back and forth between these 2 campgrounds, living in their Class A. They got a 40-foot Monaco. So we'll see how that lasts. I don't think he'll work 2 years, but he's got a real financial incentive to last that long. He talks more about it in the interview if you watch it. So while we were at Timothy Lakes, this is where we went to that Bushkill Falls, about 15 miles away. Real neat waterfall, and they built all kind of wooden walkways, probably 3 or 4 foot wide, going up and down the side of the mountain and across the river. And it was really a nice afternoon. Cost about $15 a person, and we definitely recommend it. But we drove the car over to Bushkill Falls, and we took our new RV GPS, where you put in the height and the length and the weight and everything about your motorhome. And I left it in RV mode just to see how it would route us, because it took us on a bad road getting up to Timothy Lakes. And so coming from Bushkills back to Timothy Lakes, about 15 miles away, and it took us on some different road. Supposed to be okay for the RV, but it was, Timothy Lakes is up in the hills a little bit. And so anyway, it took us to a road. Luckily we were in the car, but it took us on a small road, and then it said turn right, and we started to turn right, and here's the road turns into nothing, covered with weeds, and even has a gate closing off the road. We still love our Garmin RV GPS, but we have learned we got to check it and double check it, and you just can't take it at 100%. I just don't think there's any GPS out there. You hear bad stuff about all of them. But it sure caught us off guard, and you can see there's Pearl all tickled to death. If we'd have been in the motorhome towing the car, we'd had to unhook, and I'm not sure how far we'd have to drive to turn around and get back. So anyway, that's one more thing you got to watch out for. After Timothy Lakes, we headed up to Rondout, and that one's in New York, and that'll be the last one on this video. And we met back up with Jeff and Lori at Rondout. They went there a day before we did, and they kind of hid behind some trees. They knew about what time we'd be getting there, and they filmed us coming in. It was kind of neat. And let's hop on over if we can get Pearl. After I got kind of my smart lift on the last time, I'll see if I can talk her into driving us over to Rondout. So we'll see you over there.
204.
Boy, it makes you feel like you're on top of the world up here.
Boy, howdy.
For sure. Wow, that's cool. Out there. Gaining on this guy. And I'm gonna have to back off and stay behind you. Ain't that a bummer?
Oh, Bob's driving. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, because Carol doesn't have that.
Where's all this damn mud come from?
How was your drive? How was your drive?
Actually, it was okay. We might
for stopping by.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch.
Okay, please do.
See y'all later.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Will.
Drive safe.
If we don't take off the front end of that Lincoln, we'll be all right.
That's a pretty tight little squeeze.
Yeah. up the good work, Bob.
Take care. See you, Will. Well, that's probably one of the saddest things about our RV friends is you make friends fast and you skip a lot of the small talk and get right down to the important stuff of what's going on in life and retirement and RVing. But then it seems like time flies by and they're heading off 200 or 300 miles this way and you're heading off 200 or 300 miles the other way. So we hope to meet up with Will and Ellie again. We met them, we talked about them when we were in Indiana. They live just outside of Indianapolis, and we went and had lunch with them several months back. And I think they have family up here in New York, and so they stopped by to see us on the way back from visiting their family. And we'll probably meet up again with them. But it happens a lot. You make friends and you feel like you're really connecting with somebody, but then a week later they're gone one way and you're gone the other. So that's just part of the RV lifestyle. That's the end of Rondout. We're headed up to Massachusetts. We went to Cape Cod, and we got to find Plymouth Rock. Just all kind of fun stuff coming up. And we're in Maine now. And there at Rondout we met a couple, Lynn and Don. They didn't want to go on camera, but they're a couple of retired law enforcement officers from Texas. And they've already headed up to Maine. They're ahead of us about a week. And we're supposed to meet them here, I think maybe tomorrow or the next day at Moody Beach. And if we don't see them down here, we're headed up to Bar Harbor, and that's where they're at now. We'll catch up with them up there. They like to play dominoes, so we're looking forward to another game of dominoes with them. He's pretty good. I think he's used to winning. But, no, Pearl won last time, didn't you? Yeah, Pearl won last time. And I think Don's still used to winning, so I'm thinking he's going to want to get the crown back. Get a rematch. So anyway, that's about the end of the video. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And what?
Did you mention Will and Ellie?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're welcome. So if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you got any questions or comments, leave them down below. And oh, I noticed our Amazon affiliate account jumped up a big old $50 or something like that. So I think that's probably Terry and Cindy down in Texas. Thank you very much. And we look forward to meeting up with you guys again soon. We'll see you at the next exit. Keep the wheels rolling. Stay safe. Bye-bye. Then a few days later, Tom and Christina drove over from Philadelphia. And then a few days later, Tom and Christina drove over from Philadelphia, and they stayed at Hershey Conewago, I think it was. It's about 10 miles away from the park you just saw. And what are you doing?
Are you filming?
You think I was talking to the dog?
I thought you were just, I'm sorry.
Okay, shut the I can turn the camera on you if you keep jacking around.